He is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together with Jalen and Jacoby, what do?
We give the people what they want.
Last night in Game 3, the people of Canada got what they wanted. The Warriors were playing without Klay Thompson, without Kevin Durant, and it sure looked like it. The Raptors led throughout the entire game, fueled by good performances by basically the whole roster, but especially Kyle Lowry and the Claw, Kawhi Leonard, with the quietest 30 points I've ever seen in a playoff game. Jalen, what was the key to the Raptors' Game 3 win?
You mentioned his name, Kyle Lowry. This gentleman combined for 20 points in the first two games. Not only did he have 23 in Game 3, he also had 9 assists. He always does a terrific job of sacrificing his body, taking charges, diving for loose balls. I'm happy he didn't backhand slap the person in the front row that pushed him after he tried to do a hustle play, kept himself composed. And he did a terrific job, along with Danny Green, of outplaying everybody that played in the backcourt not named Steph Curry. Sean Livingston started the game. He wasn't effective. Neither was Andre Iguodala. Neither was McKinney. And I was looking closer at McKinney. Don't he look like Papoose?
A little bit.
He really does to me. And by the way, because Pap got bars. I follow him on IG. But however, when Kyle Lowry is aggressive, and I always say this to Chauncey Billups when we watching the game, when he actually plays like a point guard, not a shooting guard, not somebody that's going to defer, somebody that's going to attack the basket to make plays for himself. I appreciated him dribbling and probing. I like when he went down the court, went underneath the hoop, dribbled it out the other side, drew a couple of fouls doing it, dropped a couple of dimes doing it. He was in control of his game. He was confident. He talked about playing better on the road, and it showed in Game 3.
He did. It was also a really good performance from those two, like the two guys outside of Pascal Siakam they really looked to for the Raptors to play well. Kawhi and Kyle did it. But there's someone in a Raptors uniform last night that's just had such a curious journey through these playoffs, and that's Danny Green. Danny Green was almost unplayable in the Eastern Conference Finals. If you look at his numbers in the Eastern Conference Finals, right, and his numbers in the finals, it's night and day. Jalen, how can someone go from playing and shooting so poorly to playing and shooting so well just from a change of scenery and series?
This is an easy answer. He's a member of The Rock, and Jay-Z and Beyonce were at the game representing our family. And he had a level of confidence knowing that his peoples was in the building representing. He was telling the crowd to look at the scoreboard. He was doing chase down blocks. He was making contested threes. And he does this weird three-point shot that only he makes. When he jumps, he leans, and his legs are basically almost kicking his, it's almost like his heels are kicking his butt. And he still makes the shot. He's the only guy that I see that's really accurate doing that. And so playing with that level of confidence on the road was major for the Toronto Raptors. This is why they now hold a 2-1 lead in the series.
And then one thing about Green that people might not know their history is he played phenomenally in one NBA Finals series for the Spurs. There's one series for the Spurs where it wasn't Tim Duncan, it wasn't Tony Parker, it wasn't Manu Ginobili. It was Danny Green that the Heat had to focus on. And this was his third time making 6+ threes in an NBA Finals game, second only to a gentleman by the name of Stephen Curry. Now, Steph Curry was pretty much all alone last night. And Jalen, I have a little theory. Sure, he had 47 points. He did everything he could. He was diving for loose balls in the fourth quarter. He left his heart and soul out there on the court in Oracle last night. But even if Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson come back, I still feel like it's going to take this type of effort from Steph in almost every game left in the finals for them to be successful because KD and Klay will be hobbled. Do you agree with that theory?
I agree with that theory. This is why if the Golden State Warriors are going to be champions this season, Stephen Curry will get his first finals MVP because that's what it's going to take. And I like you mentioning Klay returning, but he will be a version of himself, not 100%. Okay. I don't believe KD's going to play in Game 4. I know he's been cleared for some 3-on-3 activities today, but 3-on-3 ain't 5-on-5, number one. Number two, it's hard to generate getting in not only game shape, but NBA Finals intensity. This is why after Game 1, when Boogie played 8 minutes, it was really non-effective, and then played Game 2 and played 28 minutes, the first thing I said on this program was that there may be a crash in Game 3 because it's just hard for a guy that's coming back from injury to sustain that level of intensity and health when he's coming back from a major injury that forces Klay to miss Game 3 and has forced KD to miss the last month.
Well, there's one thing that happened during this game, Jalen, that I thought of you. Nope, it wasn't anything about your waves. It wasn't anything about NBA Countdown, what happened at halftime. It was this. You have noticed something about Kawhi Leonard over the course of these finals, that he had changed his game a little bit. He hadn't been dunking on people the way he had in previous series. Well, last night, the Kawhi dunk returned. Sure, he traveled and gathered a little bit, but he got a dunk through. While he didn't look like himself, is this a good sign for the Raptors moving forward in the series?
This is a great sign for the Raptors, but it still shows me that he isn't as healthy as he was at periods throughout the season. You know why? When the last time you seen a right-hand player like Kawhi with his power and his athleticism actually dunk with his dominant hand? That lets you know he's favoring his knee. And so now when he drives to the basket, that's why he had to gather himself to get a level of confidence like, oh, I still got this. And when he did that dunk, he started to run faster. He made a couple of threes. He dived on the floor for loose balls. He actually did a great job of creating for others, giving the ball up a little bit earlier, understanding the double team is coming, and like I predicted, get away from running all of those pick and rolls with Marc Gasol, because all they're going to do is blitz him. And so now all of a sudden, you get Serge Ibaka in the game in the second half, and he was terrible the first 2 games. And then in the second half, he started scoring. He started blocking shots. He started playing quality minutes. He had 6 of them on the night. It was a total team effort by Toronto.
Good second half from Serge. Jalen Rose, during the course of this entire game, I was sidetracked by something that's very important. It's time for News That Matters. I always watch every second of NBA Countdown, and the start of yesterday's NBA Countdown, well, let's just watch.
I have a confession to make. Whoa. I just had to go to the bathroom.
Number one or
I had to go to the bathroom.
But why did you need a wheelchair to get to the bathroom?
It was that bad.
It was something went down. I had to go to the bathroom.
Michelle Beadle.
You were streaking?
Okay, anywho, injuries.
Enough said,
Injuries
enough
are the
said.
story.
So Jalen, he then tweeted later, basically a denial and saying that he was joking. You were there on set. I have a question for you, sir. He said he did it, and he said he did not. His nickname is The Truth. Which truth is the truth for the truth? Did he would say it as a joke and jest, or did he deny something that he regretted confessing to?
I love my Countdown family so much, and Michelle Beadle is a terrific captain. I have to say this, though. Paul Pierce, when he was in that wheelchair, it looked more like he was going to open heart surgery than the bathroom. Did you see the look on his face? The anguish, the pain? He didn't
Look,
look like
if you look at the
somebody
play.
that just streaked in his pants. Not at all.
No, thank you, because he actually got hurt. Like, you try to tell me that this is all a big ruse, that he's faking this right now because he has to go to the bathroom? You're trying to tell me he's getting carried around? All of these hands are next to that area because he has to go to the bathroom? See, he's lying. I'm so glad that we cleared this up here on Jalen and Jacoby. Finally, once and for all.
But here's the important thing for you.
About the truth. Yes, sir.
I want to make sure my nephew Quincy understands this. It's okay to poop in your pants. A Hall of Famer like Paul Pierce allegedly did it as well.
Your nephew Quincy pooped in his pants last Saturday. Big shout to him. His birthday is this Saturday. We have so much more to talk about from Game 3, and we will do so right after this. Wait a second. Passagassawakag River? Like, a lot of times these rivers and these names are from Native American sayings, you know, tribes, and they kept with the traditional names. But if it starts with Passagassa, something tells me someone's kidding.
I know one thing. If it's Passagassa, that means they've been around Jacoby in the studio.
That's not fair. Finally, I farted in the studio. Great. You know what? That's the first time we've ever aired that. I farted in the studio. That's the first, and you know, so people play that back to me all the time. And it's always off wax. We've officially broken down the fourth wall here on Jalen and Jacoby. I'm so upset in the studio about this that no holds barred. Everything's out in the open now. Everything's on wax now. Everything's on wax. I'm upset. We're ending the segment.
Yes, Reg!
Jalen Rose coming to you live from the Bay Area. David Jacoby coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport District of Manhattan. And we are brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, sounds like Klay Thompson is going to be active, going to be in the game, going to be available to the Warriors for Game 4. KD, you have told us you don't believe will play. But my question for you is, if these players come back, specifically Klay, who we know is going to come back, what will happen? Will they be hobbled, and how will they be able to help, not just offensively, but defensively?
If you're the Raptors, the word that comes to mind is attack. Because when you miss a game, it takes you not very long to get winded at the start of the first quarter. So those guys are gonna need a blow. And both of those guys are distance shooters. Klay's one of the best catch-and-shoot players that the game has seen. KD's one of the best scorers that the game has seen. So now the pieces on the chessboard look a little bit different as you try to integrate those guys back into the lineup. What's going to happen with Andre Iguodala? Does he stay in the lineup? Does he go out of the lineup? Well, how does that affect the bench? What about Sean Livingston's minute? What about Quinn Cook's minutes? Trying to juggle all those variables. But the elephant in the room is Draymond Green is a version of himself when KD is playing up front along with Boogie. He doesn't have the same space to operate. He doesn't have the opportunity to continue to push the pace like you saw against Portland, like you saw in the first two games of the series. He averaged 8 points this year. He wasn't the same player with those guys on the floor. Now it takes a minute to integrate those guys. Now, these are first world problems. Okay? Because without those guys, they still had a two-time MVP on the floor. They still had DeMarcus Cousins, who started in the All-Star game last year, and Draymond Green, who's wearing 3 championship rings. So nobody's going to feel sorry for the Golden State Warriors. The only thing I feel sorry for is the people of Oakland. So let me get this right. You win 3 championships in 4 years, playing in the Bay, playing at Oracle for 47 years. Now you're going to take the cash and move to the suburbs? Man, that makes me feel bad for the city of Oakland. It really does.
Of course, I feel bad for the city of Oakland as well, but Draymond Green sort of spoke about this no one feels sorry for the Warriors perspective after the game. Let's listen to Day-Day.
No one cares that guys are hurt. Everybody wants to see us lose. So I'm sure people are happy they're hurt. We just got to continue to battle and win the next game. Go back to Toronto, win Game 5, come back to Oracle, win Game 6, and then celebrate. Fun times ahead.
Okay, well, there's 2 things to talk about there, but I want to start with where he started do people root against this team because they have so many good players?
Not at all. The Golden State Warriors, anybody that's under 18 and really just started to fall in love with the game over the past 5 years, they all love Steph Curry. They all root for the Warriors. Draymond Green knows that, but he's in battle mode. That's the word that he used. And so when you're in the foxhole, it's a we against the world mentality. I'm just disappointed that he didn't wear the double piece, the blazer that he wore to the game. I'm just disappointed he didn't wear it to the press conference. Did you see it?
I noticed that too. It was almost like if they won, he would have wore the blazer, but since they lost, he's like, forget it. I'm just gonna throw the white tee on. I'm mad.
But I like that. I like that because that's how I am too. I love that. Like in today's NBA, you see guys going to the game, posting their model pics on IG, get blown by 20, still posting their fits on IG. Draymond Green from Saginaw, he like, if we win, then I'll go to the press conference with my costume on. If we lose, I'm gonna just fall back and rock my frames. I ain't mad at it at all.
I'm glad that we broke that down because I had those very same thoughts and we're on the same page. Because sometimes there's a video that we just really need to analyze and break down. So we have a segment called Going to the Table. Kawhi Leonard is not a warm guy, not a big personality guy, not a vocal leader. But Jalen, before the game, let's just watch Norman Powell try to give this man a pound. So this is Norman Powell's hand right there on the right. Kawhi sees the hand, looks in his eyes, and points like, nah, I'm going this way. Jalen, what is happening here? Why doesn't he just give him a pound?
So I don't want to make excuses for Kawhi not giving a teammate a pound because I've always been that high five, handshake, pat on the backside type of rah-rah teammate. That's my personality. But there are certain guys that have routines. I played with a Hall of Famer named Reggie Miller, and I know when he gets fouled, he's gonna go to the table, put some rosin on his hands, and go to the free throw line and shoot 90%. I shouldn't come and try to give him dap because I know he's not gonna dap me up because he got rosin on his hands. I made that mistake before. I tried to go give him dap, and I felt like he left me hanging. And I did feel some type of way about it until he made both free throws. Kawhi, as long as they go out and ball, I'm trying to tell you, you don't care what those guys do. As long as they great players and they lead you, I don't care if they stay out until 5 in the morning. I don't care if they don't give handshakes. I don't care if they don't talk to the media.
I don't care how many points you score. I don't care who you lock down. I don't care how many MVPs you got. I don't care if you're finals MVP 2 times over. I don't care if you bring a championship to the country of Canada for the first time. You better give me a pound when I stick my hand out, dog. It's not that hard. I'm not asking much of you. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for a kidney. I just want you to give me a pound. That's not a sacrifice. It takes you nothing. It's harder for you to point than it is for you to pound. Come on, Kawhi. You just lost your finals.
He didn't want to hold the
David
Eastern
Jacoby.
Conference Championship trophy up either. But he was forced to do it. He's held up the real championship, and he hopes to get a chance to do it again.
You will back up any basketball player no matter what they do. No matter what they do. When we come back, a football player did something that he really regrets. We'll explain. Game 4 Friday night from the Bay at 9 p.m. on ABC. And every morning, get up with the Get Up crew. That starts at 8 a.m. on ESPN. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, we have some news that has nothing to do with Game 3 in the NBA Finals. But we need your help. We need you to take us behind the curtain. Hollywood, Florida police are telling us that there was an incident at Le'Veon Bell's house. Le'Veon Bell had 2 women over his house. He then went to the gym. When he returned from the gym, those 2 women were gone, and so was over $500,000 of jewelry. How does this happen? and how much of the blame is on Le'Veon Bell? Take us behind the curtain.
No blame is on Le'Veon. Here's why. I'm pretty sure the jury is insured, and I just appreciate the fact that he had 2 women over his house at the same time, and he called them his girlfriends. That's what I got from the story. That's what I got from the story.
That was your big takeaway from the story. He's going to get his money back.
That's my big takeaway.
And you're happy that he had 2 women over his house that he called his girlfriend.
I see why he's not at voluntary camp. It makes sense now. It makes sense now.
Jalen, you always take us behind the curtain when it comes to athletics. Well, I'm going to take you behind the curtain on some of my experiences. You know, I worked in a pizza kitchen for years of my life, and I've got a video of a hero from one of my brethren that works in a pizza kitchen. Watch this. Boom, grabs the pizza and just keeps it moving. Jalen, is that not the most athletic thing that you've seen today, including everything you saw in Game 3 last night? How impressive is the pizza kitchen hero?
I like the glasses, and I appreciate the fact that they still serve that to somebody. That's why I want to make sure that I have pizzas available for the people.
Oh, no.
Look at how I flip them, Jacob. You see that?
I'm worried about your shirt.
You see that?
What's happening?
You see that? You see that? You see that? I got another one. Look, I can flip them. Look at that. Look at that.
You can flip pizzas too.
You see? I believe it.